Cuckoo, Kachu, what it do? Welcome back to day 4 of the silent retreat. So now it's Thursday. Same schedule as the rest of the mornings. Wake up 7 a.m. to the beautiful sound bowl. 7:45 individual breath work, asana yoga. Yoga was a little bit better this day. I ain't gonna cap. I wasn't fighting for my life at every move. You know what really messed with me was the planks. I didn't realize how out of shape I was. We only planked for like 20 seconds, but the entire 20 seconds, I was shaking like a scrubber. After yoga, we had brunch. At this point, breakfast was the same like every day. They would add some legumes here and there, different salad combinations, but for the most part, it was egg with grilled vegetables. Then we would have a raw vegetable, some beautiful fruit, banana, watermelon, papaya, really well-rounded meal. I'm shocked that I was able to eat vegetarian for the entire time, but it was just so delicious. Everything was so flavorful. And then we had lecture and group practice. On this day, I had a lot of insights, and we learned about mantra meditation. So I'm going to break that down for you guys. We did Soham or Hamsa. So a mantra meditation is where you repeat something to yourself. When we used our click devices that we were given, let me see if I have mine on me. These devices here, and we brought them to the setting for the device. You do 108 times. So you put it to that setting and you click this button every time you say it. So when you breathe in, as you exhale. So on the inhale, hum on the exhale. And so hum means that is me, and hamsa means I am that. So depending on your breathing pattern, you got to decide. For me, it was so hum. It felt like worked for me. So we did that for our mantra meditation. But with mantra meditation, you're not supposed to do it the entire time. All these are tools to get you to connect with your deeper self, and then eventually you release the mantra and sit in the state of being. I find mantra meditations extremely helpful because sometimes just doing breath work to get with myself is difficult. I get distracted so easily. So having something like a mantra to repeat to myself over and over again, before you realize it, you're locked in, you can release it and just be. Some of the topics that we spoke about on this day was karma, attachment, avoidance, and just the journey to self. We learned that karma isn't necessarily in the aspect of I did somebody dirty, so it's going to happen to me. We have karma when situations happen to us and we don't forgive or we don't release it. We hold on to the anger, we hold on to the pain. So for example, for me, an example of karma showing up in my life that I created was from a child. I told myself, my mom didn't love me, nobody's gonna love me. My mom didn't love me, so nobody's gonna love me. I repeated that story over and over again, and I held on to that. So in relationships, when I started dating, I would constantly self-sabotage and create that same story as nobody's gonna love me, right? Someone would get close to me, I would find a reason to push them away, or they would detach from me because of something. So karma is not just I stole from this person, so somebody stole from me. Karma also produces in your life in the form of repeating stories. So things that happened to you in your past that you're not able to let go, they keep reoccurring. You tell yourself that all men are horrible, you keep attracting horrible men. It's when you are attached to a particular story, a particular experience so tightly that it keeps showing up in your life. So just be mindful of that, because we all think that, I don't have karma because I've never done nobody wrong or whatever like that. But karma is not just that. It will show up in your life until you release that story, release the anger. And it happens as well if you do something wrong. How you end that karmic cycle is releasing the guilt and the shame around whatever you did. You know, it doesn't say I'm not taking responsibility for my actions, but it does say that, like, I'm not going to walk around with guilt and shame. I understand what I did may have hurt this individual. I can apologize and ask for forgiveness, but I have to free myself from that particular situation because, one, this is no longer who I am or how I operate, and we're humans and we made a mistake. So allow yourself to forgive you as well as others to release karma. So that was an interesting concept that I've never looked at it that way. We also learned this day that attachment and avoidance operate on the same frequency. So, for example, you can use those same type of situations, right? Saying all men are horrible or all women are horrible, you'll never find true love, it can go on either scale, but avoiding it and being attached to it still brings that same karmic cycle into your life. So for me, it was relationships. There's a period where I wouldn't date because I was afraid to get hurt. That is the same energy of being attached to dating over and over again because I'm trying to find that love that I'm so desperately seeking. So when you attach to something or you avoid it, it's the same type of energy. You don't want to do either. You just want to be and trust that what you're going to attract into your life, what's going to flow into your life that is for you, is going to find you. You don't have to be afraid to love again. You don't have to avoid love. You don't have to be so thirsty for love that you hold it so tight even when you know you shouldn't. You just have to be free of the idea that you're not going to find it, or all love is hard, or people can't love you the way you deserve, and just trust that what's for you will find you. And then things start to flow more easily into your life, which I found interesting because sometimes I avoid the idea of being in a relationship with someone because I've spent so much time healing or working on the things that I know I struggle with in the form of relationship, and avoiding it seemed like the best option for me. But I think that now I'm also in a point in my life where I'm open to the universe, bringing me that type of love that I've always so much desired, but didn't know how to appreciate when it was presented to me, or that I pushed away when I allowed someone to get close out of fear of repeating a cycle. So that was interesting. What else did we learn on this day? Thursday was a good day. It was a long day. I feel like it was the second full day of silence. So, now you're really sitting with your thoughts. You're questioning everything you really knew. And it just, I don't think it was the most difficult day for me. Is Friday, so I'll talk about it tomorrow. But I think this is when you're starting to be like, okay, ooh, do I want to talk? Am I gonna last? Wow, like childhood trauma is coming up. I'm thinking about things that, patterns that I've recreated in my life. Like, wow, that's why that's happening. So it's just very interesting to understand why things reappear in your life, but it also makes so much sense. I just did a post on my TikTok. When I left the retreat, I was overwhelmed with anxiety. The first day out of the retreat, I was like consumed with anxiety. My Airbnb had fell through. It wasn't what I imagined. And I didn't understand why I was tripping because it was something I didn't have to worry about. This whole situation was a gift to me. So the person's like, don't worry about it. Like, I got it. We'll just move you somewhere else. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, like, you've already done so much for me. Da, 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 da. But my inner child, she's so used to instability, lack of foundation, bouncing around in the foster care system. So she felt safe inside of the retreat. My meals were provided, a roof was over my head, someone woke me up, told me where to be, what to do. That stability was so safe. It was something that was so unfamiliar to me. So leaving the retreat, I had been overwhelmed with the fear of the lack of it. And I didn't understand that immediately until I came and I finally got settled into the other place that I'm staying at now. And I was like, wow, those inner child wounds, that story of instability that I kept telling myself still is a fear that lies in me. It still has a karma. So when I get comfortable in situations, I finally find a home. I realized that I never fully decorated an apartment in my life and made it home because the inner child in me doesn't trust that stability is something that one, we deserve, or that we can maintain. So now that I'm aware of that, I can release it, be with it, understand it, and free myself of that cycle and allow myself to create the stability in my life that I know that I can. He didn't say this directly, but this is what I understood about our journey. One of the things I was curious about is like, what is the journey? Everybody talks about this journey. We're all on our own path. And I decided and conceptualized that the journey isn't the experiences and the attachments, but the journey is the path that we take to remembering who we are and allowing ourselves to reveal itself to us. So it's not about all the ups and the down and the trauma and the experience. The journey is finding you again. understanding that at your core, you're a consciousness, you're a divine consciousness, you're a soul that's living a human experience, and it's not about everything else that's going on. It's about finding your way back to you, and I think that's beautiful. Um, the soul got muted by conditions, experiences, and attachments. There is nothing to become or obtain because we already have it all, and we already are everything that we're trying to become. We just have to create space and time to allow it to reveal itself. That's a beautiful concept because we spend our whole lives looking for something outside of ourselves. But in reality, it's here. It's all within you. And one of the questions that I had coming in was, what is our purpose? What is my purpose? Should I be doing poetry? Should I be doing my podcast? Should I be doing content creation? I love all three. I love telling my story. I love pulling my love and light into others and hopefully inspiring somebody who was in a foster care or addiction situation to show them that it doesn't matter where you started. It matters where you finish, right? Life is going to throw you curveballs, but that doesn't have to be the end all be all. Whatever you're going through, you can get through, right? So I try to pour that, but I'm like, if I'm going to be someone that has enough influence, I got to dial in on one or the other. I can't be out here pouring something in this and this and this. I got to focus on one to become big at one of them so I can spread this to the masses. Because my goal and my dreams is to eventually be able to mentor thousands of kids all over the world and bring them abroad and show them experiences that they may not have seen any other way. Because I didn't have anybody like me growing up. I didn't have a Kalia to scroll on TikTok and be like, wow, she grew up in foster care and now she's in Thailand. So I want to become that. I want to become that mentor. But I was like wondering like, which way should I be doing it? And he told us that our purpose is not your gift. Your purpose is to find the unconditional love and light within yourself and then be that for others and to share that with others and to pour that into others, right? In whichever way that you seem. So you don't have to choose. He's like, you don't have to choose poetry or podcast. Whichever one is supposed to shine is going to shine naturally on its own. Do what you feel comfortable doing. If today you wake up and you want to write poetry and share it with the world. If tomorrow you want to pour your all into your podcast, do that. You will feel it. You will know what you're supposed to do. So instead of stressing about what am I supposed to be doing? Is it supposed to be this? Do what feels right. And what's supposed to be magnetized will on its own. You don't have to stress. Your main purpose is to find unconditional love within yourself. Give it to you and then extend that to others. And that helped me because now I'm here just excited to be. I spread my message in all the ways. And whichever one relates the best, it'll hit. And if it doesn't, that's not how it was supposed to come out. But I'm grateful to understand that I don't have to force focus. I can just be. We also learned about the different traits of who we are and the things that are us at our core and the things that are our ego. So we learned that the ego is resistance, it's seeking, it's desire, it's what they call your false self. So our ego traits are that we want. You know, we want more, we want more. And it's okay. It's a normal human condition to have desires. But it's when we become so attached to our desires that it's all we can see, that we disconnect for who we are at our core. Resistance is another condition of the ego. When we don't like something, we get angry, we resist it, we fight it, instead of just letting it flow and letting it be, whether it's an emotion, a feeling, a circumstance, letting things be what they are and understanding that you don't have to pour fuel on the fire. You don't have to get angry. You don't have to get sad. You don't have to resist this feeling. Just let stuff be. So your ego is your resistance, the seeking, the desire. And those things are not bad, but they can be if you become so attached to it. And understand that nothing is good or bad. It just is what it is. Eventually you learn that nothing's good, nothing's bad. It just is. And when you stop attaching to things and what they should be or what they aren't, you free yourself of that confusion. Not always about being in a good mood, but not needing a particular mood at all, just being. So he also explained to us that like a lot of people assume when you get awakened or you have an awakening that you're like supposed to be skipping through the meadows and chipper all the time, and it's not about excessive highs or low lows. It's about being. Most people who are awakened are just calm. They're just flow. They're not super happy. They're not depressed. They just are, because awakening doesn't make you excessively happy. It's not a false high. You just are calm and comfortable at the state with accepting that what you are, and everything's peace, everything's bliss, and it's in you. Like everything on the exterior could be chaotic and frustrating and upside down, but in you, it's peace, it's bliss, it's quiet, it's calm. And knowing that you have access to that is what creates the calm on your exterior. So that was the lesson that we had. Then we had our self time to kind of sit with that, and that's when I came to the thing about the journey. How the journey is not about the experiences and wanting to do this and wanting to do that, but finding the unconditional love within yourself and understanding that all you have to do is spread that to others, and everything else that you're supposed to have, everything you're supposed to experience, the relationship that you're supposed to be in is gonna flow the way that it should and not stressing. So I sat with that. And some of the questions I had for myself was this day was like, why when I finally feel the quiet stillness in me, I almost want to run from it. But it's because it's unfamiliar within you. You're not used to that quietness, the calmness. We're so used to the chaos. So we're so comfortable in the chaos, podcast plug, that we don't feel safe and quiet. We don't feel safe and calm. So learning to practice that muscle and come back to that. So I sat with that, and then after we had our 3 o'clock snack, and then after the 3 o'clock snack, we had our 3:30 lesson. And on this 3:30 lesson, we learned about free will and how humans don't have free will nor choice. We have the experience of choice and free will, that our decisions and our choices are conditions of our past and the experiences in which we encountered throughout our life. So anything that we do, we were going to do even if we didn't want to, because if we could choose better, we would. I learned, don't push away, don't hold on, just be. Like I said, attachment and resistance is the same thing. And we learned about being stuck, and the feeling of being stuck is not being able to recognize and release non-serving patterns, behaviors, or emotions, and being controlled by them. So a lot of times when I'm getting into a flow, I feel like, okay, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, now I feel stuck. But it's because you're getting to a point where you're starting to fall back into patterns that no longer serve you, and or the emotions, and you're allowing them to control you instead of letting them flow with ease and continuing forward. We learned that awareness and taking time to understand them creates opportunity not to judge them, but to be okay with them, because they are not you. They are experiences, like emotions, they change. Once you are okay with that, then they can dissolve. So being okay with sometimes these behaviors show up, these patterns show up, these emotions show up, these feelings show up, but they're going to change, they're going to go, and letting them just dissolve and be at peace instead of trying to hold on and figure them out and break them down. Understanding that it's not you. Your unconditional love, your calmness, your peace, they're just conditions of your past that are showing up in your life now, and what you are just okay with them. It doesn't have to label them as good. You don't have to label them as bad. It's just is what it is. They are what they are. They'll go on their own. Then we did our individual practice from 5 o'clock to 6:30. Let's see what the individual practice of the day was. Woo-hoo. Thursday was a deep day. I love Thursday. It was a deep day. There was a lot to unpack, and it's a lot to understand. I hope I explained it well. If you guys have questions, I'll do videos for the questions as well, so just let me know. So this was the next day. We did individual practice, and it says, in any given moment, one may consider any part of the body as if it were pure emptiness, spaciousness, without thinking about it. One who becomes free of decatamizing, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Decatamizing beliefs directly senses and participates in their unconstructed essence nature. So how this was explained is, when you go to meditate, imagine a part of your body is just emptiness. And it's how they relate to consciousness. It's emptiness like space. So if you can picture that throughout your being, then it'll help you better connect with the space that's outside of us, the consciousness, the collective consciousness, the awareness that is. This one was hard for me. It took me probably the entire hour and a half to get to a meditative state where I was able to. I did my leg. Imagine my leg completely empty, but when I did, I kind of felt the sensation of numbness through it, like almost as if the leg was not there itself. So that was an interesting way. But those meditation verses are ways to help you to feel deeper connected to the collective consciousness, the overall consciousness that's within all of us. So that was a hard one, but I like to learn all of them either way. Then we had dinner. Dinner was pad thai, fire. It was tofu pad thai, I believe. It was delicious. We had some other things, salad. I don't know what I remember the other two. I try to just remember the main course that day. And for that day, it was pad thai. After pad thai dinner, we had our 8 p.m. meditation session, and this one was traktaka. So traktaka meditation is where he put a candle on a block about, arm's length in front of us, and we would focus on looking at the candlelight without blinking, and then we'll rub our hands together, cover our eyes, slowly reveal them back to the light and the focus, and we do rounds of that. Back in the day, they used to do rounds of it and rounds of it and rounds of it. We did 3 rounds of it, and I found it very entrancing. It was easy for me to get in a meditative state like that. So it's something I plan on practicing. So we had a block. I'll put our candle, small candle, and we stare at it for a minute, 60 seconds, and then cover your eyes, and he'll tell us to slowly reveal your eyes to the light. So like this, and then get back focused on it. And then after you do that a few times, you're supposed to drop into your being and get into that meditative state again. That was one of my favorites. Almost better. I like that better than the sound bowl. And I was so excited for the sound bowl. But I found like me dropping into self, the Traktaka meditation was very good. And that was it. That was it for me for the day. I went back. This day I realized how much we distract ourselves with just doing things. So we go back to the room. I'm reorganizing my clothes. I'm cleaning the room. They've already cleaned the room. I'm just finding things to do because I'm not tired. I did some stretching. I'm doing this. I'm wiping down the sinks. I'm like, damn. In our day-to-day life, we don't like to sit with silence so much. So we're just hopping from one thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. So something that Alex recommended is in those gaps where you don't have nothing to do, say you just finished meditating, instead of saying, okay, now I'm going to go read, sit with yourself for 1 minute and try to just sit with you, breathe, do some breath work for just 1 minute in between things. So we're not just filling the spaces that we can be connecting with ourselves with tasks. Allow yourself to connect with you, and it will help you in the long run in your deeper, longer meditations, just throughout the day, saying, okay, I have 5 minutes. Let me sit with myself for 2 of those. I think that everybody should try that if you have a hard time meditating. And remember that meditation is not about lack of thought. It's about being aware that you're not your thoughts. Yeah, so that was day 4, Thursday. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I love you guys, and see you tomorrow for day 5.